Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Sigil here, and welcome back to our video. On this one, we're gonna rank all the characters in Just 2 Mobile for their performance in Soul Raids and League Raids, or Arena Champions Arena, or League Invasions. Based on your feedback, you didn't really enjoy that they split the previous tier list in 2 videos, so this time we're not doing that. We just have one tier list, and this tier list is gonna have some separate division. So, for example, we got S tier for Raids and Soul Raids, and then S tier for Arena Champions Arena and League Invasions. And for example, let's see Manta. We got the character here that's pretty good in both of the modes, but in one of them he is insanely good, and in the other one he's fine. So what I'm gonna do is place him in the highest placement, but I'm gonna mention if he also performs pretty good in the other thing. Like, he's pretty decent in soul rates. If this was only a soul rate tier list, he most likely would be here in B tier for raids and soul rates. However, we also have League Invasions, so he's gonna be S tier for League Invasion and Arena. And yeah, a little bit on this, Manta's extremely strong in those modes, and with the correct setup can deal some pretty heavy amounts of damage, also cancels healing. You don't want to deal with him in a defensive team, and he's pretty strong in an offensive team, so I think he's definitely S tier for those game modes. And that's kind of how it's gonna go for every single character. Next up, we got Plenty Armor Aquaman. I guess I'm gonna give him A for Arena, League Invasions, and Champions Arena. He has some healing, he has some power drain, but you're gonna encounter a lot of the times nowadays. Like, he used to be the strongest character in the game for those game modes at some point, but you're gonna encounter characters that have artifacts equipped that counter those things, or characters that straight up counter those things without any artifact equipped. So he is pretty decent, but he's sadly a little bit of an old character, and he's really holding up well in those game modes compared to other characters, but he's not quite S tier. Next up, we got Ace Green Arrow. Ace Green Arrow, I think, is gonna be like C tier for raids and soul raids. Because you can sometimes use him. He's kind of a niche pick. If you have a fight, for example, I think it's the Rise of Krypton Brainiac boss, where he's gonna one-shot your entire team if he gets the super move. Well, Ace Green Arrow is not gonna let him get the super move because he's got the power drain on the special one, and he locks the power generation when tagging out. So you might sometimes use him, okay? Arkham Knight Batman. Um, Let's put him at A for raids and soul raids. I feel like he's also A for arena and champions arena and league invasions, or maybe S for those things. Like, this is weird because on one hand we get him in soul raids and he is a good support character for Batman the Drowned, but you don't have to have him because he's also replaced by John Stewart Green Lantern. You could have both of them, but having a classic Wonder Man instead of one of them is gonna give you more damage, or having Robin King. So I'm not really sure he's worth that, because it's like he's amazing with Batman the Drowned, but he can be replaced easily enough. I guess I'm gonna put him at A tier for Arena. Maybe S tier, because there's also Arena and League Invasions there, and there his passive that makes you heal whenever you kill an opponent is extremely strong. It gives you a lot of defense, it gives you a lot of enhanced health for tech characters. You can also buff up consistently defensive teams. Yeah, I guess we can give him S tier. Let me know in the comments if you feel like I was too generous for him in Arena, Champions, Arena, League Invasions. We got then the Armored Superman. I guess I'm gonna give him AC for Arena, Champions, Arena, League Invasions. You wouldn't want to use this man, but you might not have many other options. And he's got some defense for the whole team. He's got a shield that blocks the first ability. He's got a reflective shield. He's not that bad. There's simply better choices. Um, let's create a tier below. There's gonna be some trash. And when we rank a trash character, I rank it trash for raids and swords or for arena and champions arena, because it's trash for both of them, and then it's like, do I rank him in the tier where he's less trash? So yeah, we're just gonna have a trash tier list for characters that just don't have any use. But that's not gonna be Amazonian Wonder Woman. I'm gonna give him her D tier for Arena Champions and League Invasions. Anybody that's got a reflective shield is gonna get at least D tier for Arena Champions and League Invasions because that's a very strong mechanic. Next up, we got Silver Bane. I'm gonna put Silver Bane at B tier for raids and soul raids. It's gonna give you some crit chance, which is not important because you're obviously gonna have that on your gears. If you need crit chance, you're gonna have it on the build. But he gives you some damage on basic hits, and that can be quite often useful. It's pretty good with Constantine, it's pretty good with Manta, and it's not like it's the best thing for those teams, but I find myself using this man a lot in situations where I'm like, this is a cleanup fight. I for sure can do enough damage with Manta, but Bane is gonna help me out a little bit, and at the same time, it's not like I'm drawing resources, important resources from other teams. So I feel like he's pretty decent. A little bit more used than Ace Green Arrow. Atrocitus, I'm gonna put him at B, I guess, or Night Champions or Night League Invasions. He's gonna give you buffs on maybe A actually. He's quite annoying to deal with. Whenever a character tags in, they're gonna receive a few buffs. The buff that gives them lethal is not that bad, unless you're in League Invasions where lethals can one-shot your characters. The reflective shield is extremely annoying to deal with, and you literally have to avoid the enemy until that expires. And the power drain is quite annoying to deal with if you're fighting him. Also, you can use him in an offensive team. He's good. He's good. The Batman Ninja. Oh boy, this is gonna be a little bit of a problem because they are extremely strong. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna put them at League Invasions. They are also a budget story team and one of the best teams if you have Beta Club or Soul Raids. But they're also extremely good for League Invasions. But they're not like S tier for Raids and Soul Raids. That's the problem. You know what? Let's just drop them here. Let's go like this. And you know what? Actually, maybe this is a better way to fix things. It's like if you add Batman, Ninja, Catwoman in the team, that kind of makes them S tier or Arena Champions or in League Invasions. I'm just gonna drop all of them in League Invasions, but just keep in mind that they are also extremely strong for raids and soul raids. I really don't know how to handle this specific team because it's quite a weird thing. They could be in three different places because if you don't have Beta Club, they are like B tier to A tier for raid and soul raids. If you have Beta Club, they are like S tier for raid and soul raids, except for Catwoman, it's just gonna be this man and Grodd. But like yeah, I guess I'm just gonna leave them here. It's probably gonna confuse people who don't watch the whole video and just skip to the end, but hey, I'm lucky. Um, Robin. Robin's trash, like the Gold Robin, the Blade Master Robin. The thing is, he builds combo, and he starts off with a pretty decent head start in terms of building combo. He's not bad at building combo, but we currently have 0 teams that require building combo and can dedicate a team slot for that. It's just simply not how the game is played anymore. I'm sorry. Black Adam. Okay, so Black Adam, I'm gonna put him at B for raids and soul raids. He is a decent budget team. Okay, let's drop Bane and see. You're sometimes I guess the same logic as Ace Granaro applies. You're sometimes gonna use him, and he's decent when you use him. We got my boy Ninja Batman. I'm gonna put him at B for Arena Champions Arena League Invasions. He's got a special one which is pretty nice. It's a dot damage, it applies blind, it follows the enemy, and that's about it. Next up we got classic. Bro, where do I put classic Batman? He's mainly working with blinds, and he kind of enables the classic team to heal whenever the enemy misses a hit against him. So honestly, A tier for Arena Champions Arena League Invasions. He is quite A tier there. Blue Beetle, S tier for Arena Champions and League Invasions, just because of the simple fact that he's got the ability to ignore damage. If you hit the special TO, you're gonna ignore taking damage, and you're not gonna get staggered for damage for like 15 seconds, and that's huge. That's extremely strong. Um, Multiverse Captain Cold, bro, trash. He doesn't do anything. Doesn't have anything that would recommend him for anything. Um, my boy, classic Superman. It's a little bit weird again because he's either A for Reign Champions Arena or B for Raids and Soul Raids, or maybe C for Raids and Soul Raids. Because you're kind of using him to reduce the armor of the enemy with any special, but I haven't done that in quite a while, to be honest. Yeah, just kind of, I'm just gonna put him at A alongside with his homies here. Horrific Scarecrow is gonna be, I guess, B tier for Arena Champions Arena. He increases the power cost of the enemy specials, which is pretty decent, and reduces their attack by a bit. Or, bro, trash. I'm not even, I'm not even trying to trash talk the man here, but for Arena Champions Arena, the only thing that he's got going for him is that he's got relatively smooth gameplay because it's a character that's like built on the King AI, and that's a very good AI, and he's extremely enjoyable to play. But I mean, he's got a shield. Look, he's got a little bit of a shield. I don't know, man. I really don't know what to do with this guy. Let's put him at C Arena Champions Arena. He's got a bit of a shield, but it's not like the Blue Beetle shield. It's a different kind of shield, and usually in Arena Champions Arena you don't really have a big enough shield to hold damage back, and it gets broken easily. In Raids and Soul Raids, that's very useful, because you get passive stats from the artifacts, and that shield becomes a lot bigger. However, he is trash in Raids and Soul Raids. I'm just gonna put him at D in Raids and Swords because I just want to signify how bad he is at that, and he's kind of built towards that. He is built with the expectation that he's gonna be a Raids and Swords damage dealer. Dark Side is gonna be S tier for Arena League Invasions and Champions Arena. You most likely know him by seeing him very often in the defensive teams. He's got some nice bombardments in there. That's pretty much one-shot characters with the proper setup. He's got some barrier, he's got some parademons, he's got armor pierce on his special one. He can chain some pretty nasty combos if he catches you with a special. You don't want to deal with this man. Dark Superior trash. I'm not getting her buff trash until they fix her tag and animation, and they never will. Okay, so a little bit of a rant here. She can interrupt the special when she tags in, and she's gonna get guaranteed crits and a little bit of damage. Back in the day, would say a lot of damage, but now it's not that much damage anymore. I don't remember how much exactly is. I think it's a 200% damage increase, which back in the day was quite something, but now we can get it easily from artifacts. The main problem is though, because that's something, okay? That's not nothing. It's something. It's pretty decent, I guess. The problem is, we got Multiverse Armored Supergirl, for example, that has a very nice interruption animation, because she does the same thing, though for different benefits. She interrupts an enemy when she tags in. Well, the problem is Dark Supergirl kind of knocks the enemy over and is staggered herself a little bit by the animation, and the enemies, by the time you get yourself together at the point where he's already standing and blocking, and it's a very short buff that she gets, and by the time you actually get to hit the enemy, that buff is most likely over, and it could be so easily fixed by just transferring the tag and animation from Multiverse Supergirl, but they just refuse to do that for years. Okay, so Harley, D tier for Raiden Soul Raids, I guess. Like, the only thing she does is she gives some increased base attack for the Batman Ninja characters just by having her in your roster. That's good, but it's not impactful. It's not much attack. It's not like she's giving them a lot to work with, you know? Um, Lord Joker is gonna be B tier for raids and soul raids. He's stronger than Black Adam. You drop, or do we put him at A tier? Because you know, with the proper setup, you have a classic Wonder Woman in there, Robin, and the Joker with Puppet. You can get some high amounts of damage from that. Yeah, I guess for now we leave him at B tier. Maybe we move Black Adam to C tier. We'll see how this list develops. I'm gonna make some changes as we go. But yeah, he's pretty strong with puppets. He's probably the strongest Batman Ninja team you can have in raids and soul raids without having Beta Club. Firestorm, D tier raids and soul raids. Look, there's like one fight a year where I'm dropping Firestorm in there for his dodge resistance, but that's about it. Okay, so here we have EPI, Entangling Poison Ivy. S tier for raids and soul raids. She is the thing that enables the League of Archeteams. The League of Archeteams would not exist without her. She gives them the dot damage, and the damage tiers from that push that team to the S tier. So EPA is easily S tier. Flora Poison Ivy is gonna be B tier for Arena Champions Arena. She's got a map wide armor pierce specialty that disables enemy movement. That's all you need to know. Hellboy is gonna be, I guess, also B tier for Arena Champions or in League Invasions, because he heals from dot damage instead of taking dot damage, which is nice, I guess. He's also got an armor pierce on the third special. So not terrible. Not terrible. So I might just drop everybody in this tier back to the C tier if I feel like there's a character that's too weak for the A tier and too strong for the B tier. We'll see how that goes. Brainiac. Oh boy, this is weird. I'm gonna put him at A tier for raids and soul raids, but just know this is it's pretty much the only character. It's also gonna be Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze and this man are gonna be pretty much the only characters in the game that are gonna have a different rating depending on if you have Beta Club or not. So just keep in mind, if if I don't, yeah, I'm gonna count for Beta Club, because if I don't count for Beta Club, we might as well throw him out of the tier list at this point. But he is gonna be pretty damn strong at buffing Beta Club characters to get to the 2 billion damage. By that logic, I could... Hold on a second. Okay, so this is the second tier list that I'm gonna go sometimes to if the ranking differs too much for the pay-to-win side of things and for the free-to-play side of things, so I can feel free to put them wherever I want in the other tier list. So, where were we? We were at... They're not in order. Brainiac versus Brainiac. There we go. Brainiac is S tier for the pay-to-win side of things. Can pretty much get any Beta Club character to do 2 billion damage. That is legendary and has somewhat of a synergy with the Beta Club. Yeah, and on this side of the tier list, also Grodd is S tier for pay to win because of the synergy he has with Brainiac, or even without Brainiac, with Puppet Joker, you can most likely get 2 billion if you have Beta Club. Okay, so back to this. Just like Superman is gonna be easily S tier for Arena Champions or League Invasions. He is extremely strong. He's got a reflective shield that heals him when he blocks a special, and he's gonna tag in to interrupt your special if you try to use a special on one of the enemy characters. He's extremely annoying to deal with. Next up, we have John Stewart Green Lantern. I'm gonna put him at A tier for raids and soul raids. He is pretty much the best support for Batman the Drowned, but unlike the League of Archetypes, I can't really give him the same tier as EPI, because if EPI didn't exist, the League of Archetypes would not exist. If John didn't exist, the Batman the Drowned team would still exist and would still do 2 billion damage. But he's what you're usually using, so I feel like that's fine for the A tier. Also, let's drop this man. Oh, you know what we could do with him, though? We could put him in the S tier for Arena Champions Arena and League Invaders because my boy Brainiac is extremely strong there. Is the buffs that he gives in terms of the raw attack buff, the pelt buff, the lethal buff are a lot more impactful there than in league rates, than in soul rates where you have a lot of passive stats. And he's also got that damage cap, which doesn't allow you to take damage higher than a certain amount of your health from basic hits, which is the only thing stopping a Manta in a defensive league invasion teams from one-shotting your whole team with the jump attack. So yeah, we found a place for my boy Brainiac in the normal tier, but just know for the pay-to-win side of things, he's also S tier raids and soul raids. Nightmare Batman is gonna be. Do we give him A tier or S tier? He's not as annoying as other things to deal with in the defense side of things. So I guess the A tier. A tier. I might change my mind about this, and he might be the character that kind of pushes some other characters into a lower tier. You know what? No, I don't know. Let's leave him at A tier. He is gonna stun you when you start the fight against him for a couple of seconds. That's the stun you can avoid. It's not the stun you can resist. Is as far as I'm aware, not stun you can reflect with the Harley Quinn passive. The only way to counter this man is to have your own Nightmare Batman in the team, and you both sit stuns for the start of the fight. And this can lead to some nasty combinations in League Invasions. And honestly, give him A tier for the defense in League Invasions. Give him S tier. Because you got an outpost that can only have gold characters. That's always gonna have a Nightmare Batman in there. I don't know which Catman this is. It's either the gold or the silver one. They are both trash. The only thing both of them do is increase your gold from the operations, which is great, I guess. Multiverse Captain Cold. I guess D tier for Arena Champions and all that stuff. Just by being in your roster, he's gonna make your multiverse characters immune to armor pierce, which is something, I guess. Nightwing. I guess C tier for Arena Champions Arena. It's somewhat fun, I guess. He's got Power Drain when he uses special one. He's got Stun when he uses the third special. He's trying to be fun, goofy, and jack of all trades, but he's pretty bad, sadly. Howard Super Gold trash here. She's got the chance when she does basic hits to give you the special one for free instead of paying 2 power bars for it. Oh boy, whoever designed this character, you're a genius, man. You're next level. Predator Batman. Um, like B tier for Arena Champions and all that stuff is fine. He's got armor pierce on the special one, stun on the special two, and that's about it. And also he deals a little bit of percentage hull damage on the tag and attack on Arena Champions. I don't know if he does that in League Invasions though. My boy Raiden is gonna be A tier for Raiden Soul Rates. Because he can do 2 billion damage, but by using Raven with Twin Blade. And he is kind of the best one to pair him up like that. You can pair up King, though. You can pair up a lot of other characters. At the same time, he's got a team with Scorpion, but that team is a lot of the time struggling to push towards the 2 billion damage. Zero Banshee, this is another little bit of a weird one. I guess I'm gonna put her at B tier for raids and soul raids. She can also be B tier for Arena Champions or in League Invasions, I guess. Silver Batman. I guess. I don't know, man. D for Arena Champions or in C. If I give him a lower, I'm gonna get some hate for it. But look, I know he looks cool when you get him to level 60 gears and the gears start glowing green, but reality check, he's trash. He only does a stun with the special too, and he gives you some crit from the passive. Nah, bro, give him D tier. I don't care if I'm getting hate for this. Also, D tier. No, this is trash. This is, I think, the. Doesn't matter which Black Canary is, they're both gonna be in the trash tier. But I think she's the one that disables the enemy block for a little bit when she uses specials. My boy, the man, the legend, Robin King. I'm gonna put him at S tier, I think. He's gonna be a support for Batman the Drowned. He doesn't really do much without Batman the Drowns. No Windows, I don't want to do an update. Leave me alone. Uh, so the thing is, Batman the Drunk can still exist without him. Batman the Drunk can still do 2 billion damage without him. However, he's extremely good to have. He bumps up her damage by a lot, so if you're not yet at the place where you're already dealing the 2 billion damage type of deal, he's gonna get you there a lot sooner. And at the same time, he's gonna remove the enemy's crit resistance. He's gonna give you a lot of crit damage. You're usually using him with puppets, so he's gonna apply blind to the enemy, disable all these specials of the enemy. He literally fixes every single problem that Batman the Drowned would have trouble with. And because he gives you so much damage, it kind of enables the gameplay where you use God Killer on Batman the Drowned and don't care anymore. So even though the Batman the Drowned team could exist without Robin King, he's contributing so much that I feel like he is. Now let's give him 8 here, but he's very strong. I love him. Next time we got Grids. I guess B tier for Indian champions. He's got a shield that's similar to Darkseid shield, but only triggers for himself, and it's gonna trigger if he takes a certain amount of damage from basic hits. And also messes up with cyber characters for some reason. He disables cyber characters. He was introduced a long time ago when the Justice team was the strongest thing in Arena and Champions Arena, and there were no other mods. And people were complaining about it, and they were like, "There you go, character that counters Cyborg. Now shut up." So that's great for you. Next up, we got Heartbreaker Harley Quinn. She's gonna definitely be S tier. One of the strongest damage dealers in the game. She's gonna benefit from EPI's dot damage passive and is gonna make it better herself with some damage against stun targets. Easily can reach 2 billion damage. Amazing team. Just like Cyborg and just like Flash. Can I put them at budgets for raids and soul raids? They can also be okay in Arena and Champions Arena, but I find that in Arena and Champions Arena they tend to die fast. And in League Invasions, if you have the problem of dying fast, oh boy, you're not in the right place. They're pretty solid in our game modes too. I'm just gonna leave them here. Just like Batman, I'm gonna put him at B for Arena and Champions Arena because he gives a shield to the Justice team that prevents a special from being used against them. I mean, maybe C. Probably gonna leave it at B. Deathstroke. 8 here. I'm no longer using Deathstroke on my main account because I got 6 teams that can do 6 one-shots, which never happens because I'm usually messing around, but I can kind of do that at this point, and Deathstroke is no longer that needed, though I can use him in a Mr. Freeze team without too much trouble. But until you get to that point, this man is gonna be a character that's gonna deal 1.4 billion damage against a 2 billion health fight just by having a level 1 or a snow globe, him at 3 stars and no gears. And you don't need gears or star rating on him. He's gonna be at pretty much 99% performance from 3 stars. The only thing he does that's actually useful to you with a higher star rating is he's gonna power generate a bit faster from crits. And the only thing you get out of gears, for the most part, except for some tankiness, is a bit faster power generation because he's got some crits. But this man is the strongest character in the game at 0 investments. Next up, we got Multiverse Supergirl. I'm gonna put her at 8 tier for Arena Champions Arena. If you're not agreeing with this, you clearly are not playing the right Multiverse team in Arena Champions Arena and League Invasions. Because you're probably using Green Arrow. My boy Green Arrow is giving you some health, is giving you a little bit of dot damage to see some purple values on the screen when you do a third special. But boy, the Multiverse Supergirl is gonna give you 50% less damage taken if you're below 50% health. And that is huge for survivability. That is extremely strong. Next up, we're gonna have Power Girl. I love Power Girl. I'm gonna give her 8 here as a supporting character. It's either Power Girl or Dr. Fate. Let's also drop Dr. Fate here if we can find it. There we go. They're reducing the power cost by 2. That's literally all they do, and that is more than enough. they are great, and I'm no longer using both of them because I don't have two teams that demand them. But I'm sometimes using both of them, and I'm always using at least one of them for the most part. So yeah, the meta has shifted a bit from characters that require lower power costs, but they're always gonna be somewhat useful in some teams. Ace Granaro, not Ace Granaro, Multiverse Granaro is gonna be, I guess, B tier for Arena Champions and League Invasions. Get a nice power drain. The power drains even if the enemy blocks, at which point you're kind of stupid and the enemy shouldn't block when you're using special one, but hey, my man Multiverse Granaro's got you. And also it's giving you a little bit of health. Yeah, B tier is fine for him. I think I have too many tiers here at the bottom because we're really not filling them up. So I guess as we go, we'll see if we fill them up as we go through more characters. Raven, S tier, one of maybe arguably the best, one of the best, the second best, the third best in my opinion character in the game. She's gonna do specials and apply a debuff on the enemy. That's called Darkness, and that gives you damage against target, which is the strongest buff in the game. Pair them up with League of Anarchy, insane results. Pair her up with Manta or King or Blue Beetle or Raiden with Twin Blade, you're gonna get some insane results. She buffs the hell out of pretty much any character. At the point where you unlock Raven, you pretty much have trouble not having a character that has a good interaction with her. Scorpion. I'm gonna put him at A tier for rates and soul rates. He's not quite there. He would need to be a little bit stronger where he's at the point where he can, without trouble, deal 2 billion damage with the team between him and Raiden. And sadly, his gameplay sucks because the whole gameplay revolves around the fact that you need to hit the enemy while they're sitting on a hazard, and the enemy is gonna jump when they hit on a hazard. So the whole artifact setup for that team is gonna have to be God Killer on Scorpion and Dark Melkards on Raiden to deal the damage. So you're stuck in a place where if you can't equip on Raiden, which is your damage dealer, an artifact that also gives you passive stats, you're stuck with only one artifact that gives you passive stats and two artifacts that actually struggle to make this team work because of the dumb gameplay. You'd be S tier if the enemy didn't jump out of hazards, but sadly that happens, so he's A tier. The man, the legend, the nightmare, Collector Ward Superman is gonna be S tier. I'm not really ordering them here, but I might go towards the end of the video and order them a little bit. But yeah, he is absolute S tier for Arena Champions and League Invasions. He's got the same thing as Blue Beetle, but better. He's got damage invulnerability. But his damage invulnerability also reflects damage, and also you don't have to hit the enemy with it. With Blue Beetle, if the enemy blocks the special to, it's over. You're not getting your invulnerability and you're probably gonna get killed. Collector doesn't care. He just gets the shield and he starts reflecting damage. He is one of the most annoying characters to deal with and one of the strongest characters in the game in an arena League Invasion setting. Inflant Sakuman is gonna be. By the way, I didn't really pay attention to the pay to win free to play side of deal. I might go back and pay some attention to that. I would say tippity top of the A tier. I don't feel like giving him S tier, okay? Because at that point you could argue for Raiden of getting S tier. What he does is he gets a damage buff, which is all the way up to 500%, and he gets percentage hull damage, which can also interact with North Snow Globe. If you think about it, he's kind of a combination between Deathstroke and Raiden, where he kind of does what both of them do, but he is a bit less efficient at them, because Raiden's got a little bit of a better damage buff, and he starts with it, and he's able to maintain it throughout the entire fight, whereas King has to stack it. And Deathstroke is gonna do more percentage hull damage with the clones more easily because the special 2 is cheaper for the most part. So he is the combination between those two. He's a little bit worse at what each one of them does, but because he's a combination of the two, I feel like he's better than both of them. But I don't really quite feel like giving him S tier. Like at this point, we got a ton of characters in the game that can get that damage buff. The only thing that makes him special is because it's gonna be crazy easy to acquire, though that's also valid for Raiden, I guess. Primal Swamp Thing, trash, I'm sorry. All he does is revive after he dies. That's all. Um Mythic Wonder Woman. Do we put her at 8 here? Here? I guess we could. I guess we could. Because we got the reflective shield, she's got the armor pierce on the special one, and she's getting a damage buff whenever she kills an enemy. So one of my favorite things with her, which is working a lot better in Arena Champions rather than League Invasions at least, is just rolling up teams with her. You just snowball an entire Champions Arena team in a few seconds, because you take a bit to kill the first guy, then you kill the second guy faster, and the third guy just disappears because you get both of the buffs for killing the previous guy stacked up. It's quite fun in terms of that. Next up, we got the Golden Armor Wonder Woman. 8 here, I guess, for a Champions League League Invasion. I haven't played her terribly much, but whenever I played her, I didn't feel like she was that strong for those two game modes. And whenever I played against her, she was quite annoying, but I felt like she was annoying because her character design was like half baked, and she's got a lot of invulnerability frames when you play against her, and a lot of points where she transitions into a block crazy fast. But yeah, I don't feel like giving her more than 8 here. Yeah, Multiverse Supergirl still haven't fixed the problem where she's got no heads attached. I'm gonna put her at 8 here for Raiden Soul Rates. You're sometimes using her, and she's pretty good with League of Anarchy. Gives them a little bit of a damage buff. I wouldn't call her insanely strong, but she's fine. Multiverse Armor Wonder Woman. Uh, do we go with S tier here? Nah, let's go with A tier. I'm gonna get into why. Let's put the Multiverse team together here. And let's also get Flash. Where is Multiverse Flash? There we go. That's my boy. So this team in League Invasions can be pretty damn strong, can deal some decent amount of damage, has a decent amount of survivability. Though the only team I have on this list for attacking purposes only, it's either gonna have a damage invulnerability, which they don't have, or it's gonna be the Batman Ninja team, which has immortality and can constantly heal themselves. So even though they are extremely solid in League Invasions, they can die. As to the other characters here, if you're playing it well, they can't die. Those guys, even if you're playing it well, they can die. However, they're going to be extremely strong at what they do. They're going to deal a lot of damage. Flash counters tech abilities, and in League Invasions, when you're fighting Manta and Collector in the defensive team and Brainiac, that's going to be extremely useful, because you're going to get the first 3 specials countered and stagger the enemy for it. So that's great. I might change up this tier a bit, because like I don't feel like this is worth, for example, being the same tier as those two things. Yeah, this feels better now. This definitely feels better now. Questionable about the trust is there, but I'm still gonna leave him there for now. But the class team is getting dropped to the B tier. Constantine is gonna be B tier for raids and soul raids. He's not great. He sadly just doesn't really pull the numbers. He's gonna deal more damage the lower on health the enemy is, but sadly he doesn't really have the tools to get there reliably. And you can pair him up with Twin Blade with Raven, but at that point it's about, do you have the damage to punch through the enemy until you actually start to benefit from Constantine's passive? And yeah, I feel like B is a decent spot for him. I really wish he was stronger. So this kind of puts into question other things in this tier. Yeah, let's drop those guys at C. Let's drop those guys at C. That's better. That feels better here with Lord Joker and Constantine in the same tier here. I feel like Lord Joker is a lot stronger than Constantine. And yeah, you can pair him with Twin Blade with Raven, but at that point you got my boy Raiden, you got my boy King. There's no way you don't have anybody available for that. Martian Mentor is gonna be A tier in Arena Champions Arena and League Invasions, maybe even S tier, maybe arguably S tier. Because there's something very interesting you can do with him that you don't think about, first of all. I mean, there's also the fact that he regens when he's out of combat, and that's pretty nice, you know? But at the same time, he's gonna be able to keep the enemies tagged in and tag the enemies out, which Sir Banshee is capable to an extent. She can't keep enemies in. She can only keep tag enemies out, but this man tags enemies out and keeps enemies in. So what you do usually, because you're gonna fight some League Invasion teams that open up with, let's say, a Collector versus Superman, and there's a dark side in the team, and that's the biggest problem for you. And that Collector is barely taking any damage and is not gonna tag out. And if you want to nuke him, he's gonna get a dark side shield. What you do is tag out Collector. If Brainiac or something else gets tagged, then tag out that other target until Darkseid gets tagged in, lock the Darkseid into the fight, and then proceed to kill Darkseid, so you no longer have to deal with bombardments and shields. So I feel like for that purpose of manipulating the positions of the enemy team, in League Invasion specifically, he is extremely strong. Next up, we got Multiverse White Canary. Where do we put this? I guess D tier here. She's got this strong third special that disables the enemy's specials. Also gives you a chance for a free special one for multiverse characters. Yeah, I don't know. She's quite bad. Don't mind too much the rankings on the bottom here. You could argue the positions of those. Like from C tier Arena and Champions Arena, if you don't agree with something, that's fine. You're probably right, and I don't care. Next up, I got my boy Black Adam. Gonna put him at A tier for Raiden Soul Rates. He's definitely not gonna deal 2 billion damage. However, he's gonna deal some percentage hull damage. And he's gonna deal it very fast, and he's gonna be the most unintrusive percentage health damage dealer in the game. I could drop this man into any team that doesn't require 3 members. He does his percentage health damage in a couple of seconds, he's out, and you're good to go for the rest of the fight to do whatever you want. Gold Blue Beetle, I don't know, man, trash, I guess. He's kind of trying to do the same thing as Nightwing, but I like Nightwing a little bit more. Next up we got Hawkman. I'm gonna put him at D tier for Raids and Soul Rays, because currently Black Adam is not really used in Arena 9 Champions Arena, and Hawkman is meant to interact with Black Adam and make him stronger. But like, we don't have the third member yet, and Hawkman is not doing much, and unless the third member is crazy strong, then Hawkman is gonna be still garbage, because he's not wanted in the team that he should be a part of and he should buff. And at the same time, if there's the third member that is also bad, Hawkman is gonna remain trash. So I guess I'm gonna put him at D tier now. Multiverse Batwoman, I guess D tier for 9 Champions Arena. Batman the Drowned, S tier. The second strongest character in the game, in my humble opinion, after Beast Boy, of course. She's gonna deal hazard dot damage. Hazard dot damage is amazing. She's great. She's just great, and she's gonna be so easy to get for you. You might struggle a bit with getting the gears, because the challenge might not be up whenever you're, like, doing your thing and trying to get her. But she's extremely strong. The second strongest character in the game. Does a lot of damage. That's all I need to know. The Silver Catwoman, trash, gives you more gold from operations. My boy Cyborg, yeah, A tier for Arena Champions Arena League Invasions. Specifically for League Invasions, because you got the fight where there's only silver characters in there, alright? So you got limited choice in terms of what silver characters you're gonna use. And silver characters don't do much, so at that point you gotta be thankful for... I guess A is a bit too much thankful, but we gotta be thankful for the small things in life. And Cyborg is a character that regens when he's out of combat, and for silver characters, considering you can only use silver characters, that's pretty good. Next up, Deadshot is trash, it only gives you some crit chance. Speed Force Flash. Um, I guess D for raids and soul raids. Like there's those very very specific moments where I need some fast actions on a character that I'm messing around with that has no gears. So I'm gonna drop this man to give him some fast actions. Though he can avoid damage when he dashes, that's also something that should be mentioned, I guess. I guess B49 champions right now. I guess you can play this man well and avoid a lot of damage. I haven't really gotten heavily into that myself at any point, so I can't really speak from experience. If you got more to share on this, if you've gotten some crazy results out of tanking with Speed Force Flash by avoiding damage and League Invasions, please let me know. Silver Ace Granaro, I guess D49 champions. It's at least got a power drain, okay? We got the Silver Grods. I don't know, man. He's got a reflective shield and he's gonna get more damage the lower on health he is. And in League Invasions, that's pretty decent. I'm gonna give him D tier. I haven't seen him yet. If I stumble on a Grodd and he gives me trouble in League Invasions, I'm gonna change my mind. But until then, he's doing nothing more than classic than the Silver Wonder Woman. Next up, we got classic Wonder Woman is gonna be this might be a little bit controversial, but hear me out. I mean, not on the top of it, obviously. Hear me out. I never, on both of my accounts, I have two accounts. The main account, which is pay to win, and the secondary account, which is mostly free to play. I never have Wonder Woman available. And every single day, at least on one account, I'm like, is Wonder Woman available for this team? No, I've already used her. She's extremely strong because she gives you something that any character in the game benefits from. Like with Dr. Fate and Power Girl is kind of a situation where, yeah, any character benefits from the reduction of power cost, but they might not really need it. Everybody needs crit damage that can go above the crit damage cap. The only situation where you're not using Classic Wonder Woman is if you're using Dark Metal cards on your damage stealer, because then you can't bypass the 500% damage cap. But unless you're doing that, there's no damage stealer in the game that doesn't benefit from that. She is in the best Batman the Drown team. She can be used with Lake of Arc if you're using Harley with Crown. She can be used with Lord Joker with Puppets. And she's kind of the best option for those teams in those situations. She can be used with Raven plus Raiden. She's just insane in terms of the versatility. I'm definitely giving her S tier. A boy, Mr. Freeze, and this is where I remember the pay to win versus free to play side of things. I'm gonna put him for the free to play side of things at B tier. I feel like he is comparable in power to Lord Joker. He's stronger than Lord Joker, however, because he doesn't really require anybody. With Lord Joker, you have to have a Robin in there to deal those damages. With Mr. Freeze, you don't have to have anybody, so you can add the classic Wonder Woman for more damage, and then you can maybe add some percentage damage or a Black Adam and the Zatanna in there. He's a lot more open to teammates than Lord Joker is. And with Puppet, he can deal some pretty decent amounts of damage. I guess we might even give him 8 here with Puppets if you have him at hard star rating. Because I gotta keep in mind, I'm comparing my Mr. Freeze, that's 4 stars sadly only, or maybe 5 stars, I don't know, with Lord Joker, but there's more potential to him. But like for the pay to win side of things, oh boy, I got good news or bad news depending on what side of it you are on. S tier, Beta Club synergy. That's kind of all you need to know. You put Beta Club on him. You have a little bit of a Zatanna to constantly put damage against targets, and you're gonna have a good time. Just looking around a bit for the cat. I'm curious as to where he went. Cheetah is trash. Red Hood is gonna be B tier for raids and soul raids. He's gonna extend the duration of the fight, and guess what? 4 years after the release of the character or something like that, they fixed it so that in the 30 seconds that are extended of the fight, you're actually getting the same power generation as you are getting in the last minutes. And he extends the duration of the fight. It's as versatile as Classic Wonder Woman, but it's not as strong as Classic Wonder Woman, so we're definitely definitely making that a little bit of a difference. But he's pretty good and he can be used in a lot of teams. Final collapse, I feel like B tier for raids and soul raids. He does the same thing as that legendary Black Adam does, which is percentage hull damage, but he's a lot less optimal than Black Adam is. He needs to use specials to get into a form, and when he's in that form, he needs to do some basic hits against the enemy. It's a little bit inconvenient, but it's still strong. The man, the legend, Beast Boy. S tier, the second strongest, the strongest character in the game currently, excuse me. You put Puppet on him, you activate Puppet, you spam third special, and you're gonna kill the fight. And you're gonna have a lot of time left in the fights. It's simply his values on the third special that he can easily spam with Puppets are very high. That's all the explaining I need to do. Okay, so for then Silver Green Lantern. B tier for Raids and Soul Raids. It's a support character that's going to give you a little bit of a shield, and you can use him with Manta or other teams that you don't feel like combo interrupting with. And that shield is going to make you not get staggered, and you can just bully the enemy until the shield is over at least. And yeah, some of you were maybe expecting to see this in the S tier because you see him a lot, like in every single League Invasion defensive team. I think that's not that good. It's not that good, as good as it looks because his shield is only scaling with the base health of the character. So you might be fighting a 2 million health character that has something like a 10 or 20k shields, which is something you can easily get rid of. Whenever I fought silver teams, I never felt like the fact that the silver Green Lantern was there was the issue. Like the shield was just a little bit annoying at best. And we have my boy Legendary Shazam. Okay, so this is a character intended for raids and soul raids. And he's trash. He's absolute trash. He's Skinflant Sakuman, but you don't have the percentage hull damage, and it's gonna be 10 times more annoying to get a damage buff. He is also gonna have his separate tier in the pay to win side of things. And he's gonna be trash for the pay to win side of things too. Because of all the things you could use the goddamn beta club on and try to make that work and try to buff things, why would you use that guy? Why? Next up, I got my boy Shazam. This is the gold Shazam. I'm gonna put him at A tier for Reign of Champions Arena. He's the most effective character, arguably the most effective character in the game because we also got Plantier Murakumin at healing characters. And he can also trigger the third special for free and heal characters whenever he blocks the special, and he gives some crit resistance to the team. He's a good guy overall, I like him. Silver Horrific Scarecrow. Okay, so I'm gonna put this here. I think this guy might be sleeper OP because you can just discard the trash Green Lantern from your trash for League Invasion for your Silver League Invasion team and have this man in, which has a pretty interesting passive for League Invasions if you're playing against him and he's got 2 billion health and a lot of damage. That passive is gonna make it so that you have a chance to get your tag out interrupted and then you get stunned. And that doesn't sound too great, but we're talking about silver teams, so we don't have that many choices to work with. Silver Robin, I guess, is gonna be C tier just for the purpose of we don't have that many teams to work with. He builds combo and he has the chance to build combo real fast. And that's about it. Next up, Sorcerer Dr. Fate. D tier, I guess. His passive is gonna swap the health with the enemy. Doesn't work in League Invasions. Works only in Arena and Champions Arena. That's something, I guess, but it's not great. I'm just gonna put this here because this is always a problem. I don't own Enchantress. I don't own Suicide Squad Harley Quinn. I own this man, but I'm not playing him, and I never see this team played, and I never play against it. Like those two plus the Justice Superman are the only three characters in the game I currently don't own. But Justice Superman, I'm seeing him a lot. I'm seeing him used a lot. I'm seeing him used in defensive teams a lot. I know everything about this man without having to own this man, but those guys, I'm not seeing them and I don't have them. So honestly, I have no idea. My apologies. Next up, we got the man, the Legend Silver Superman. Boy, this should be banned from League Invasions because you gotta remember, you're going in there with only silver characters, so you don't have that many tools at your disposal. And then you get this man who's got the 50% chance to dodge your basic hit and not get staggered by it, and he's got a reflective shield. Oh boy, this man should not exist in the defensive teams of League Invasions. This man alone makes that mode 10 times harder because you have to deal with him using silver characters. Definitely S tier in League Invasion. Next up we got Silver Harley. Trash. League of Anarchy Joker. Gonna put him at A tier. You're simply very rarely using him because you're usually using Harley because Harley's stronger because Harley can do damage against stun targets. But he's still strong if you don't have Harley, don't have Harley's gears, or for some reason want to mess around and use Joker. He's fine. He's just not as strong as Harley. Enraged Pain's trash. I think he gets unblockable after getting hit by a special, and that special has to not be blocked for that to happen. So yeah, very good game design there, guys. Very good game design. We got Server Aquaman. I guess gonna be D for Raids and Soul Raids, because again, once a year I might be using him because he gives you stun resistance depending on how many might characters you have in your team. And if he's the only might character in your team, that's still more stun resistance than any supporting character in the game gives. Hutch, I'm gonna could put him at A tier for Arena Champions. Nah, let's put him at B tier. Because that bug might get fixed, and this is because of a bug. I see this man a lot in gold-only defensive teams, and you know why this man is so strong? Because he's got a bug that makes his special one free, and he's just spamming the special one because it's free. Why wouldn't he spam it? And the special one, it's a ranged attack, which means from any position in the fight, he can feel comfortable doing that for the most part. So yeah, nerf Hush, please. That's annoying to play against. Ember Green Lantern. He's gonna be C Raiden, maybe D. It's again one of those situations like he's got to use. Okay, I know for a fact he's got to use, but that happens very rarely. So you know fights and swords that have reflective shields, right? You're gonna have to deal with those somehow, and one way to deal with them is to stun the enemy, because while they are stunned, you can use specials against them because they can't use the reflective shield while they are stunned. So this man is going to give you a chance to stun on Tegan, which comes bundled up with two other buffs that can trigger at random instead of that one of them giving you crit damage, which is useless because it can't bypass cap, and the other one is giving you a bit of power. So yes, sometimes, once a year, maybe I'll use this man against a shielded fight so I can stun on my basics, so then I can use a special, but other than that, he's not doing much. Next up we got Just Aquaman. I guess C for Arena Champions right now, because he gives you armor pierce, and that's nice for those game modes. And he can also revive a character by using the super move, I guess. So I guess we can give this man A for this too, because he's fine Arena Champions Arena, like Emerald Lantern. He's fine. He can definitely get a C tier for Arena Champions Arena. Multiverse Black Lightning. This is another situation of this is gonna be annoying to fight in defensive teams, and this is actually pretty strong in offensive teams too. He's got armor pierce on the third special. He's got that dot damage cage, and he also heals if he gets power drained, so that's nice. We got here the Silver Swamp Thing, Trash, Starfire. Again, B tier for Arena Champions on League Invasions. She's got a lot of ways to heal herself, and she's quite annoying to fight. Silver Flash is gonna be D tier. For Raiden Stories, I guess, because he gives you some fast actions, and it's the same argument I made for Speed Force Flash before deciding to bump him up a bit for Arena Champions Arena. But yeah, if you ever need some fast actions, this man is providing it. Do you need fast actions usually? Nope. A Joker? Silver Joker? Gonna put him at trash. He does stun at targets. He does stun at targets, so that's something. When he dies, he stuns the targets. I'm not really sure how you can pair that up with other stuff to make that useful. But you're kind of having to get that character killed, my dudes. So, not feeling like giving him too much credit for that. Sub-Hero, I guess we can put him at B tier for 9 Champions Arena. To be fair, I haven't played him much. He could be a lot stronger, he could be a lot weaker. But I know him a lot to not put him in the I have no idea tier. The other Black Canaries also trash. Um, Primal Swamp Thing. My boy Primal Swamp Thing is gonna be in the B tier alongside Constantine because you pair him up with Constantine, and Constantine for the entirety of the fight is gonna have a shield that's gonna prevent him from taking damage or having to combo interrupt, which is great. Next up, we're gonna have Silver Wonder Woman. It's gonna be D tier, just for the same reason as Amazonian Wonder Woman. Next up, we have Kinetic Grodd. I guess we can give this man C tier for Arena Champions and League Invasions because he's got the Reflective Shield and he has a chance to pull you back in and deal some damage to you when you try to tag out. I haven't seen him much in gold defensive teams, but like maybe put him at A tier. Maybe he has a decent potential in gold only defensive team in League Evasion. Reverse Flash is gonna be just C tier for Raiden Soul Rates. He's a good combo builder. He's probably one of the best combo builders in the game, but we don't need that anymore. Cyborg, Gold Cyborg is gonna be D tier for Internet Champions. And look, he's got a bit of stuff going for him. He revives when getting killed. He's got the stun. He's got a little bit of power drain. It's not great, but it's something. Harley, Gold Harley is trash. Vixen. Gonna put her at B tier for raids and soul raids. The base tag that she gives is not a lot, but it's quite a lot in league rates at least. I feel like B tier is a decent place for her to be at. Mythic Wonder Woman is gonna be in the C tier for United Champions now because she's got the effective shield and an armor pierce on top of that, which is nice. And Zatanna is gonna be in the A tier with the mention that she is gonna be in the S tier for the pay-to-win side of things because again it enables beta club teams. Okay, now let's do a little bit of a rundown. Let's see if there's any mentions that we should make. I feel like all the characters in the S tier are ordered in the proper way. Do you want to make some changes here? Okay, pop the dark side in there. Get this man there. Get this man there. Rods maybe. Oh boy, Silver Superman definitely deserves his high spot on this. Blue Beetle maybe a little bit ahead here because he's got that damage and vulnerability. The Batman Ninja team maybe ahead a bit here because they got that immortality and healing. Okay, in the A tier, how do we order those guys? I mean, out of all of them, funny enough, I feel like Deathstroke might be the lead guy, but at the same time, you eventually get to the point where you no longer need him really. Raiden's pretty good. Now let's leave him King. Let's leave King on the first slot. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother anymore for the most part with the rest of this. But in the S tiers, I felt like ordering them up a bit. But yeah, this is the tier list of Injustice 2 Mobile to the best of my ability, and yeah. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if you agree with it or if you got something you would personally change, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.